Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning? It's Monday, 3/7/2022. Ninth consecutive live stream. Let me know what you think about the video. I've been working very hard on trying to make it as crisp and clear as possible. I've made some other changes yesterday. I might even get in the manual settings. I don't want to. Like maybe I'm looking too pale in this picture. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to do some things to make the stream better. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, and we'll just go over it because I don't have the answer yet. If I do, some of the streams when you start, like it starts with some music and stuff like that, maybe a nice little picture, like just to get just to get everybody in and ready to go. I didn't have anything set up like that. We just start straight up. What would you like to do? I don't want to do an intro because I can't hear it. So I don't want to do that. I can't time it to know when I'm supposed to be coming on. And if I play it through the speakers, I'm worried it's going to do the, feedback. So I don't want to do that. But I'm thinking, have a little music, have a little picture up, just to go through the time. Can't do anything copyrighted, of course, because I'll get smacked pretty hard on that. But I don't like jumping right in anymore. So I'm going to look into that today. Am I going to get to it? I don't know. Everything is just all up in the air. It's not good. It's not good. Not great. But it is, I don't know, a lot of stuff to do today. Just a question of getting in an order that works out. Ninth consecutive stream, I believe. Let me check. Yes, the ninth. Numbers are looking okay. I'm not going to complain about the numbers. I guess there's always things you can do better. Let's talk about my sleep last night, which was terrible. I woke up choking on my own, like vomit. It happens way too often. Should probably get to a doctor for that. It's acid reflux or something. It's just terrible. Sit there dreaming, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're choking and you're coughing, and it's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. My wife is also stressed. She has to go out of town today. And just not a great start to the Monday morning. One of the things that I tried to guard against today was when I made those camera settings yesterday. I tested everything. There's a video of me in my pajamas, basically testing the camera. So who knows if that's going to be? Who knows if what I set up today is going to be what we need to have? But I'm trying. I really hate cloudy video. Really hate it. And I feel like I have plenty of light, and you can see like shadows by the lamp. So, I mean, do we just dare to get into things so early on a Monday morning and just right into the real estate game? I don't know. I mean, let me check on something real quick. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. So, yesterday, you know, Saturday was kind of a bomb. The houses that we saw, we weren't really good with offers. I have a follow up to that, and then I have the showings from yesterday. So let's go over that. I have two showings from yesterday. First house was at noon. Set of buyers. We went to University City, and went through the house. The house was really clean and very nice. And the problems that I saw, one, in the backyard, it was a hill and it was pointed towards the house. So you're always walking uphill. Second, there was a fence that was between you and an apartment complex, and the fence was falling in. Third, when we went through the house, the husband loved it. The wife did not. When that happens, you don't have a consensus, and therefore you can't move forward. So that wasn't going to work. And then finally, the reason why is the house looked a little different than all the other houses. It just the way this particular house looked versus other houses didn't have the curb appeal in the same neighborhood. Now, will it sell today? I'm sure it's probably gone pending already. It's the market we're in. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun for me. There's you know, the real estate game is fun when you can help buyers and sellers, like, actually help them. I mean, right now, sellers are just throw anything on the market, throw a price on it, and it sells. Buyers are fighting over, what house to make an offer on, and just how much more to overpay. And it's not enjoyable at all. So on this particular house, I mean, it was okay. The garage was going to fall down. But the main problem with this particular set of buyers on this house is they don't live in the area, and they refuse to drive around the area and be a part of the community. They refuse to go to restaurants around. They refuse to walk the streets. They think they want to live somewhere, but they've never lived there. They've never tried to live there. So we always get into this where we get freaked out that we're going to buy a place in the neighborhood. So I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't the house for them. And the reason why is because the wife didn't like the house. It doesn't even matter what's in the house or anything else. I mean, if somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it, and it's over. So that was the first one. The second one was the most disappointing situation that I've been in a while. Nice young couple looking at houses. Texted me late Saturday night, hey, we wanted to go stop by this one house on a street that we'd been on before. We go to the house. It's a rental that's turned into a sale. 2-bedroom home. We get there at like 2. I'm sorry, the appointment was for 1:30. Sorry. And the offers are due by 3. Now, I didn't think anything of it because I just didn't think anything of this particular house. Buyers walked through and they loved it. By the time we walked through, by the time, we could formulate an offer, by the time we could put together a, some sort of comparable sales market report, 3:00, that's when the offers are due. House goes pending. That house went pending. Is there anything I would have done differently in that house? No, they did it perfectly. They painted the entire basement white with gray floors. Okay. So that looks good. They cleaned everything else out. There were broken seals on the windows. Everyone saw them. It wasn't like a surprise. It wasn't a great house. I would not have wanted to buy it, but if your buyers say they like the house and that's what they want, then that's what you do. So it's very frustrating when you get the opportunity to do that and then nothing. So that was sad. It bothers me. And so then I had another couple that wanted to look at a house, and then we did look at the day before on Saturday, and they were still kind of going back and forth on Sunday about making an offer. The problem that we had on that house is we'd been to houses in the neighborhood, and they didn't warrant the price that they were asking. Now, I'm just going to go over my own stuff. I can't speak for every other agent. Sometimes, I mean, the way I approach it is like knowledge. So I'd give my buyers as much knowledge as they can. So we went and saw a house in the same neighborhood, and it sold for, say, $300,000. Okay. The house we looked at yesterday was being marketed or asking price of $300,000, we'll say, but it wasn't as nice as the house that sold for $300,000. In fact, it was significantly not as nice. There were things about it that were not great. Flooring, for example. The kitchen needed to be redone. There's all kinds of stuff that didn't, to me, warrant the price, and nor did it warrant the price for the buyers. And so here's the problem. Buyers wanted to come in with an offer much lower than the asking price on the first weekend. That's stupid. Why is that stupid? Well, if we put in an offer, we already know right now, it's Monday morning, it's 9 o'clock, and we already know the house went pending. So we know that there was one other buyer at least interested. Now that other buyer could have had no idea that the other house that went for sale, was the same price, that was better. They may not care. They may just want to buy a house, and so they jumped on the opportunity to buy it. But that's where you kind of do a disservice in the real estate business, is if you make offers that are way over asking, or make offers that asking on houses that don't warrant them, because you don't know the neighborhood and don't care. You just want to throw a buyer into them. You're hurting yourself, and you're hurting the business. Now, did the buyer that did buy the house, did their agent consciously know all the things I'm talking about? No. I suspect they don't care. They just want to sell the house. They just don't want to go looking at houses every weekend. It's not a good thing. It is kind of the situation, though. Deal with it in a way. Now, my buyers have an insight now in seeing how this works, and they may be uncomfortable. The problem is if we would have put an offer, we would not have gotten a counter. And so we would have had to go highest and best. And by that time, whoever else wanted to buy the house is going to be at a number that we weren't comfortable with. At the end of the day, we weren't comfortable with the number. So that one was a frustrating one. I'm like, right now at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm frustrated because if I would have done something, okay, like write an offer, still wouldn't have gotten the house. But it feels like I didn't do anything because we didn't write an offer. So I get frustrated on stuff like that. I don't know if you do too. I don't know if you've been in that situation, but then tonight I have a house to look at. It's on a slab. It's been for sale for 80 days. It's a terrible house. It's not in the neighborhood where the buyer wants to be. It's not in the school district the buyer wants to be. And the house is terrible. It's been virtually staged, and it's been one of those houses. I'll tell you right now that this wonderful trend that's occurred where institutions come in and buy houses straight from the buyer at a discounted rate, okay, and then do some repairs, and then sell the house. And idiots in this marketplace just jump at the opportunity to buy terrible houses that have been lipstick put on them. It just drives me nuts. And the more and more corporate this gets, the selling of homes, the more and more corporate it gets, the worse it's going to be for the buyer, the actual consumer. In two ways. One, they're going to be paying more and more for a house because these institutions can restrict supply. That's not good. And then two, the ability to be, have you ever tried to negotiate with a bank? Have you ever tried to negotiate with anybody that's a nameless, faceless corporation? You don't negotiate. It's literally the worst. It's like a cafeteria line in middle school. They throw the crap on your plate and you walk down the line, and that's it. There's no joy. It's a commodity, and it's disgusting, and it's not enjoyable. And that's where we're headed, and no one seems to want to do anything about it. I mean, how many problems are there in the world? And apparently this isn't one of them. So frustrating. So frustrating. So, like, I got to schedule that appointment. I keep forgetting. But it's automated, so what difference does it make? So that's tonight. It's just one of those, you wake up and there's more to do than you can possibly get done in a day. Just every day. Just grinds on you. So Anyway, sorry I'm yawning. I'm still getting going this morning. As you know, the sleep was not great. So we showed houses yesterday. We didn't go on any trips. That's probably the best, best for work. Wife needs a new car. Going over that in my mind has been tough. I kind of want her, she kind of wants an SUV, and I kind of want her to have an SUV, but the gas prices in the United States are going through the roof. And the political class on both sides have decided that they don't care. And so they want green energy, and so we're going to get green energy. So, yay. Yay. Green energy. Whatever that means. Not nuclear. We know that. Can't have nuclear. That makes sense. So, I guess in the interest of just explaining the real estate game in St. Louis, for me, I'm very, very busy between, starting now, March and September. And so, like, when the kids wanted to do, when the kids and the wife want to do a summer trip, that's normally not good. It's normally not a good plan. Everything gets put on hold for showings and stuff right now. The market gets crazy, so you're always kind of competing with others, and it's not unusual. We've been dealing with this now for 3 years. So I don't like to be gone. I don't know about you. When I take a vacation, I like to just, let everything go. I'd like to just think about my vacation. We did a nice little vacation this summer. It was quiet, but, it's pretty far away. So let me check on this. I get a voicemail from a 346 area code. I get a call from a 636 area code, but a voicemail from a 346 area code, which means spam. Spam. So, as a real estate agent, how many calls do you think I get a day for buyers and sellers versus spam selling me stuff? I'll tell you, I get 6 calls per day for somebody selling me something. Internet services, insurance. Love to sell insurance. Health insurance is just such a wonderful time to sell me that. Social media companies, like, we can get you all kinds of impressions on Facebook. All day, every day. Just gets old. So I told you guys I was going to put the phones I was going to turn them upside down so that I didn't get nervous about this stuff. So 18 minutes in, how are you? How are you on a Monday morning? How are things going? Did you have a good weekend? Looking forward to going to work? How is everything? Are you excited about the situation? By situation, I mean going to work. What is it that you do? These questions will come back up if I do ever get that other live stream going. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit down. We looked at 16 houses this weekend, no offers, and just frustrating. And I already know, like, next week some people are going to be out of town, so they're not going to want to buy anything. So then it goes the next weekend, and it just goes. I don't know. Anyway, wanted to, it's just going to be a very plain broadcast today, I guess. Just very formulaic. I'm not happy about it, but we're going to go straight into the Google article now. Google Trends had 20,000 extra searches than normal. Want to know if you saw anything about this. I did not, and I don't want to, but I thought it was very, very fascinating. So I'm going to get to it. It says, Mexico soccer riot, latest fallout after violence between Querétaro Atlas supporters causes Liga MX suspension. I don't know what any of that means. But there's a dude whacking people with a stick. It says, in what many are calling one of the darkest days in the history of Mexican professional soccer, a brawl that erupted in the stands between Querétaro and Atlas supporters spilled onto the field and caused the suspension of a March 5th match in the Mexican top flight. Okay, so what does this story have that is fascinating to me? One, it's a sports story, and it just seems like in the world we're just motivated by sports stories. Team pride comes into play here. Rioting in general, the reasons for a riot. Like group behavior. And I don't know. I'm fascinated by it because my own feelings are like when the Cardinals and Cubs play baseball, I don't particularly want to be a Cardinals fan in Chicago. Like that doesn't seem like a good idea to me. It never has. Legendary Raiders games where fans would go and get pummeled. So it's not like you're in a welcome environment if you're the visiting team ever. And you know that's the way it is. But you know, everywhere you go, should you have some feeling of safety? Should you have that, you know, should you have the right to go somewhere and feel safe? It's very strange. I mean, like here's the way I look at this. So do you do things that provoke others, like on purpose? I think they call it like an agent provocateur. Like wearing a jersey from a team that you hate intentionally into a stadium of those fans. That's doing something to cause issues. Now, the way it seems to be set up is if you do that, okay, it's not you had it coming. Don't be dumb. It's you should be able to allowed to go walk around like that. And I don't understand any of it. I do my best to try and keep a low profile everywhere I go. I would never like I'm trying to think of any sporting events I've went to where I was in the minority in the game, and I don't think there is because it wouldn't be something I would do. Now, if I go to a Cardinals game and I see like someone wearing a Cubs shirt, I don't get really all that upset about it. I've seen lots of fights and stuff in NFL stadiums, but it's been confined to like, 5 fans. Maybe alcohol's involved. It doesn't make it right. When I was a kid, we went to Monster Truck, and there people in front of us were smoking weed during the Monster Truck thing. Now, this was in 1980 something. It was not really. It was really. It impacted me in a negative way all my life. Because I was with my mom and dad, and they were like, we just wanted to watch and have a good time, and then these people in front of us were, just higher than a kite, and nobody did anything about it, and it's frustrating. It was frustrating, and that's the other thing. When you have these events, like if it's a sporting event, if it's like like the sporting team. That's one thing, but then you have these events that are in the stadium that aren't run by the club, and they're always a little different. Like a rock concert at the stadium is a little different than a Cardinals game. It's just a weird thing. But anyway, I think this story has a lot going for it, and that's why I wanted to go over it. So the scenes from the Estadio Corregidor in Querétaro were disturbing, graphic, and violent, and they have led to outrage across the Mexican soccer community. Other clubs, officials, current and former players, media pundits, and fans are all demanding answers and action, and the investigations are only beginning. So, yeah, definitely disturbing, graphic, and violent. Outrage, fine. I don't understand the demanding answers part and action. It happened. Can you keep it from happening again? Well, I mean, to me, let's just say you have 1,000 security guards in an event and there's 30,000 people. They're outnumbered. So, okay. According to reports, barriers meant to separate the supporter groups were breached. So supporter groups is another word for fans. I don't know why we've changed our language to say things like this. But barriers meant to separate the fans would have been just easy to write and make sense. Were breached, and the fighting began in the stands, causing some supporters to invade the field to escape it. Again, would be fans. Now, this is by the Sporting News. I used to read the Sporting News, and then they got bought out or something, or they're part of a media, and then they just started doing poor writing on events. But the reason why I'm using this is I can't write or read Spanish. I can speak a little bit of Spanish, but I'm not, good enough to do that. And this was the only report that Google showed me that was, that was readable. But anyway, the whole supporter groups thing is odd. But the violence followed them, and the Querétaro Atlas match was eventually suspended in the 63rd minute. The video below shows how the match descended into chaos, with a glaring absence of security personnel in the stands or on the pitch. So we talked about that. Atlas, the defending Mexican League champion, was winning 1-0 at the time, but the competition is a distant concern at this point, with the state of the victims and the pursuit of the perpetrators top of the mind amongst Mexican fans. Now all of a sudden we're back to fans. And this whole paragraph is bizarre to me. The defending Mexican League champion was winning at the time, but the competition is a distant concern. It's probably not for a lot of people. Here's the thing. If someone else next to you gets shot and it's not you, you're probably okay with that because it wasn't you. And I don't mean that's a great thing. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good part of our wiring. But you make this stuff into this. You cause passions to overflow for sporting events because that's how people spend their money. They buy things based on passion. They want to see their team win. They've been told that they're helping their team if they do anything, if they cheer, if they buy tickets, if they wear their shirts. It's all this big psychological thing. And you want to beat the other team. This is I mean, it's bad what happened. I'm not minimizing, but it's almost like you wanted this to happen. This is what you get when you create this fandom. While there has been speculation on social media about possible lives lost, some fans who were at the stadium have subsequently gone public about fatalities they either heard about or allegedly witnessed. There are still no official reports of death as of March 6th, so yesterday. We'll get into that if the article allows, but I have a funny story about social media here in St. Louis, specifically Webster Groves. So it says, why did the soccer riot happen? So then they're asking these questions, okay? So they seem to know the answers. It says there's a history of incidents between Querétaro and Atlas supporter groups with past clashes as recent as 2013, 2010, and 2007. Now, I don't know if Querétaro is good. I don't know if they can beat Atlas. I mean, Atlas is the defending Mexican League champion. Anyway, Mexican Daily Milenio published a story outlining recent issues involving the supporters groups, adding they are considered two of the most violent in soccer. Well, that doesn't sound like a good thing. It sounds like you're breeding hatred in your fan base for the express purpose of making money. Now, did this article from Milenio get published before the incidents in the stands yesterday? I don't know. That'd be something to look at. Could they be accused of fomenting a hostile behavior? It says that's why the security shortcomings at the Correa Stadium were immediately singled out as an area of concern by Liga MX president Mikel Arriola. The violence at the Corregidora Stadium in Querétaro is unacceptable and regrettable. I agree with that. There will be exemplary punishment. That's a weird word. Exemplary. Like punishment for those players who are responsible for the absence. Oh, this is interesting. There will be exemplary punishment, which will be like outstanding punishment, for those responsible for the absence of security in the stadium. The security of our players and fans is priority. Well, now they've said that it's the security's fault. It's notable that Querétaro State Police posted a tweet during the match in which they confirmed their presence at the stadium and noted that the first half is taking place in a tranquil environment and with good atmosphere in the stands. That state would devolve shortly after. So the police department was there. They, I suspect, have their own security. But maybe you just shouldn't foment hatred and anger amongst fans. Maybe. Like, maybe that's not a good idea. And you say, well, we're not. You are. You want to beat the other team in any way possible. That's why it's kind of a joke when you talk about college football. They're not professional athletes, but they work and train, and they pretty much do all that all the time during school. And maybe 10% of the kids actually are going there for the education. The rest of them are going to play football in a different league. So, I don't know. Here it says, were there deaths after the Mexico riot? Now, this is what I wanted to get into myself. It says, despite the multitude of graphic videos shared on social media showing motionless bodies strewn across the Corregidora Stadium grounds, the Querétaro State Civil Protection Body informed that there were no deaths to report on the night of the violence transpired on March 5th. Now, two things. One, I'm a pacifist at this point in my life. I am. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But I am. I don't like violence. I don't like the reporting of violence in the sense like I don't like video of people getting beat up or beaten. I don't want to see it. I'm glad that it exists, I guess, for other people if that's what they're into, but I'm not. I don't care. I don't have any interest in seeing it. It says, as of now, there are no reports of death. There were 22 injured persons, 9 of whom were transferred to the general hospital, and of these, 2 were in serious condition. The day after, the numbers were increased slightly, but there were still no deaths to report. 26 individuals needed medical attention, of which 3 were still in serious condition, 10 in a delicate condition, 10 were deemed not serious, and 3 were released. It says Liga MX continues to stick by the official numbers released by the state of Querétaro, including the 0 fatalities, but personal accounts from fans in the stadium tell a different story. And that's what I wanted to talk about. It says one video that surfaced the day after violence featured an emotionally distraught Atlas fan who claimed her friend, who she named as some fellow, died in the stadium attacks. She added she was informed that there were 32 deaths, though her claims have not been substantiated. When confronted with this information, the Liga MX president continued to point to the official state count. Now, let's do this one too, because it's part of it. In another video, a 16-year-old Atlas fan claimed one of his close friends died at the Corregidora Stadium, but he declined to share his name out of respect. He also indicated there were others who perished assassinated, accusing stadium security of allowing Querétaro fans into the Atlas visiting supporter section, fans from both sides, to entrap them. Instead of helping us, the police opened the gates so the fans could hit us, he said. Sporting a bandage around his head, he said, was the result of being struck by police. He accused the stadium security of working in tandem with the Querétaro supporters who orchestrated the attack. He went on to claim that while Atlas fans were thoroughly searched before entering the stadium, the Cartaro fans were carrying weapons, including a pistol he witnessed. Okay. Yet another fan who claimed to be at the stadium said that he hoped there were no deaths at the stadium, but those of us who were there saw how the fans wound up. You saw them in pools of blood not moving. We really hope there's no fatal victims, but it was horrible. Let me tell you my story. I was at a 4th of July fireworks event in Webster Groves. It was sponsored by the Lions Club, and I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was before the Rona. And I was there with my family and with another family, friends, and we were enjoying ourselves. And all of a sudden, the fireworks started coming at us versus like going in the air. And one of them hit one of my friends, I believe, because her shoulder was burnt. The shirt was burnt. So I feel like she was hit. Or if she wasn't hit by the initial rocket or whatever it was, when the thing blew up, it hit her. And it was on our blanket. It burnt our blanket. So I feel like this is a fact. And so obviously they didn't continue with the performance. It was kind of a downer. You know, it's 4th of July weekend and you can't enjoy fireworks. They can't even do that right. So we go home and then we get on social media, and on Facebook, some lady says that there's 3 fatalities. Now, no offense to her, but like, I think she's just dumb, because fatalities means deaths and no one died. Like, we knew that immediately. So that's how fast it spread, though. I mean, from the time we got into our car and left, the time we opened our social media, it went from there was a fireworks snafu to 3 people dead. But they weren't dead. And in this case, you know, even last weekend we saw a lady, you know, drink herself into a stupor, and people were saying she was dead where she was not dead. I mean, it was disgusting, but whatever. My point being, look, people exaggerate things. People, and I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying there seems to be like no downside to lying. Someone calls you a liar and you go the next day and you lie about something else. What's the worst that happens? They call you another liar. I mean, politicians to me have mastered this. They have no shame. They have no internal shame. They will lie about something and then lie about something, and then they will believe what their perceptions are, make it true. These people may actually believe that their friends were murdered. You know, I mean, it's like they may believe that the police actually opened the gates, and then the police may have. Look at the wildness. There's certain things I can't talk about on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. But you know, in our own culture, within the past couple of years, we've seen reports of riots, and then it turns out maybe the riots weren't real, because the reporting around it is suspect. While social media, I think, is a tremendous gift in some ways, it's also just the downfall, because, you know, we don't know what the story is, and now we have to investigate things that would never have been broadcast in the first place. Like in this case, well, if let's say someone had died in the soccer thing, then that should be published. That should be known. But the opposite, if no one had passed, that should be known. But this whole thing where now the accusation is that people have died, it's on social media. People are going to believe what they want to believe. That's not misinformation. I hope that didn't throw my stream out the window by saying that word, because I know that only certain groups can use the word misinformation. So if I have gone across the lines that are invisible, I apologize. Gosh, to me, this is, you know, let's try to look at it this way. If no one had died, is this situation acceptable? No. If someone had died, is this situation acceptable? No. Same thing. No. does it matter that someone died? Should the punishment somehow be worse? I don't think so. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad animal behavior that is inspired by commerce. And I say animal behavior, not that the Mexican people are animals. This happens in the United States as well. That happens all over the world. What I'm saying with the word animal is a hardwiring, like fight or flight mentality, a sociological phenomenon. This was definitely that type of behavior. Okay. So could a 16-year-old say that there were people being attacked and the police? Yeah, absolutely. They call it the fog of war. It says, where was security at the stadium? It says, Areola's comments in the eyewitness allegations called into question the municipal and club officials as to their responsibility for preventing the violence that took place. The investigations are expected to uncover the causes of the security failures. So to me, okay, the argument sounds like, hey, you knew this was going to be violent. Why didn't you do something about it? Which I don't know that it's I guess in the law, it's you should have known. You should have known. I have a tough time with that. Like what if you're I'm just putting out there. What if you're a nice peace loving person and you see people for the good that they are, okay? And you walk through a terrible part of town and someone shoots you. You knew you were in a terrible part of town, but your bias was that everyone is beautiful and wonderful. So in that case, should you have known? I don't know. Like these kinds of thoughts in today's world, I don't know. Things have changed. The state governor promised an in-depth investigation, but he also pointed the finger at the club. The ownership group and the institutions will have to respond for the events. Well, so I don't know anything about it. If you go to the Atlas place, the Atlas Club, does this kind of stuff happen? Or does it only happen at Querétaro Stadium? Video clips shared on social media showed security personnel who were not actively responding to chaos unfolding around them. What are they supposed to do? No offense. Let's say there's 1,000 and there's 30,000 people. And I don't know if Mexican police have guns, but would you want them to shoot the protesters? I say protesters, but I mean the active participants in the chaos. What do you want? Beat them with a club? Like, how does that make it better? I'm not trying to stand up for the police in this situation, but it's like you've got just a terrible event happening. It's already it's happening. You can't put the genie back in the bottle at this point. You almost have to hope that people just get tired and stop beating on each other. I mean, that's really the bad situation. Or you have to have overwhelming force. And in this case, I don't think they had the numbers. The day after the incidents, the Querétaro Public Safety Secretary said that the private security firm did not take all the personnel that it needed to take to cover the event. I think that's fair. State officials admitted that the public police presence at the stadium was not sufficient, but that stadium security is the sole responsibility of the private sector in the case of the club. I'm okay with that. Querétaro Club president said that there, in a March 6th press conference, there were 600 security personnel at the game based on existing rules and protocols to determine security count. They were overcome not because of the number of security staff, but because of the violent actions. I don't know if that doesn't make any sense, and it's translated. That's what I think it said. Maybe not. I don't know. They were overcome not because of the number of security staff, but because of the violent actions. I don't know. Like, you got 600 security versus a couple thousand people. The comments by Solaris, who took over Querétaro as part of a consortium in June 2020, came a day after the match. It was the Qatario team Twitter account and the club's sporting director who were the first to issue statements on the day of the attacks. No one deserves to experience a nightmare like this. I agree with that. So what we're saying is you have an expectation of safety if you go to a sporting event, regardless of what team you're rooting for. Even in Mexico, I say even in Mexico, meaning like everywhere. This is like universal. Rizzo was also captured on video apologizing to Alice supporter. This is not Mexico. This is not what we want for our country. An apology that hurts us a lot. Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. It's embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing. If it happened anywhere, at a Rams game, it would be embarrassing. But the Rams are an embarrassment anyway. Solari said the club has subsequently made it a priority to eliminate the relationships with any type of club supporters group. Now, that is a little different than what we have, I think, in America. They kind of have clubs of, I don't know, of supporters. Like, they're fan groups, like, and they split off. They're not all the same. Whatever. Meanwhile, the governor promised the violent actors, I'm going to find you. It was a massacre. Now, see, I don't know. If no one died, it's not a massacre. It was planned. It was premeditated. It's obvious that they did what they wanted to do with us, said an Atlas fan in a TV interview. The security opened the door for them. When we ran out, we asked the police for protection, and they didn't support us in any moment. They were off to the side, and they were observing us. So, I mean, now that we've got allegations of, misdeeds by the security department and the police. Fraud. I mean, this is a heavy story, right? I think so. In the hours after the incidents, Liga MX followed up with a statement confirming the opening of an investigation. Well, that's good. The activation of the league's disciplinary commission to begin the sanctioning process, and the pursuit of criminal complaints is necessary. Now, I don't pretend to know Mexican law. I'm not going to wade into that. Despite calls to immediately suspend play around the league, Liga match is scheduled for later Saturday night. Move forward as planned. I hate to say this, but I'm almost always for the continuation of playing games. I think it should be left up to those people that are involved. But I think you play the game. I don't let's assume, like Darryl Kyle. I don't know if you remember him. He was a pitcher for the Cardinals at the time. He died, and they canceled the game that day. And I think that was reasonable. I mean, the one team, clearly, the Cardinals in this case, not good. I think there was another death. I think his name was Josh Hancock. He was a relief pitcher. He ran into a tow truck. He ran into a tow truck on the highway, and he died. And I think the next day the games were canceled. I think. I'm all for that, and it's because the player died and because they were in the particular game. Now, so say if like a ball player died, I think that team has every incentive to not play. But I don't think the other league needs to go ahead and stop playing because a team. I mean, it's just one of those things. You're never going to be right, no matter what you do. So anyway, but after their conclusion, Liga MX announced the suspension of all men's and women's professional matches on the slate through at least March 8th. So this is the 7th, so through tomorrow. So they're taking a pause, and perhaps they are kind of thinking about what they need to do to not have this happen again. Areola traveled to Carantaro the next day in a press conference announced that visiting supporters will no longer be permitted to travel to watch their teams play on the road in Liga MX. So now they're saying what I've said. Now that's why it's complicated. They're saying, hey, look, you're not allowed to go to a stadium that's not your home stadium. And if you say why, they say, well, because there's been all kinds of trouble, and we're just going to stop this. That would stop like 99% of the problem, I believe. Now, are you restricting their fundamental rights? Yes. They should be able to, like, those people have done nothing wrong. The fans that aren't in the thing. So, this to me, it's not a black and white issue. There's shades of gray here. So, an emergency Liga MX owners meeting set for March 8th is expected to produce additional new measures, potentially changing the relationship between clubs and their supporters groups or fan groups. Erla has mentioned digital fan registration and the use of technology to better track and monitor supporters going forward. Now, facial recognition, it's coming, and it's coming because for freedom, every time someone does something like this, it takes away your freedom a little bit more. Every time somebody shoots up a church, every time somebody shoots up a classroom, it takes away your freedom just a little bit more. And I believe that's the intent. Let's just look at 9/11. Now, now we can't carry liquids of more than 3 ounces on a plane, and we can't walk through without, we have to take our shoes off because of one man. Take away your freedom just a little bit at a time. He did not rule out the possibility that Qatar, the team also popularly known as Gallos Blancos or White Roosters, can be expelled from the league, though he indicated that the disciplinary commission and owners will be following the letter of the league's rules and regulations to determine the appropriate sanctions in their preview. I'm all for a rules-based system, okay? But just make sure that you follow as long as they're applied for everyone, I'm okay with that. My question would be, is the team, Qatar, did the players, and I mean that the players, did they engage in this behavior? If they're just trying to play a soccer game and other people are causing trouble, I don't see why they should be punished. These guys, I'm sure they train hard, and I'm sure that they're professionals, and they just want to play soccer. I think. So for this to happen, why should they be punished? And similarly, like if the game was on TV, why should you punish people that are watching the game on TV? Like, what did they do? I'm a little, and you say, well, their team leadership made the stadium not secure. Well, I don't know. Until the investigations are complete, the Cubs' Corridor Stadium has been shut down and is banned from hosting any soccer events for the time being. You can host like a rock concert. Like I was saying, it's very weird. Meanwhile, the Qatar Secretary of State said she would be reviewing the existing stadium loan agreement between the state and the soccer club in the case there's been a failure to comply with the contract. In that case, the agreement could be voided and the stadium turned back over to state control. Regional body CONCACAF has called for strong football sanctions, while world governing body FIFA encouraged local authorities to bring swift justice to those responsible. There's no indication that the violence could harm Mexico's ability to co-host a 2026 World Cup matches together with the USA and Canada. I agree with that. This was an event. It was bad. Let's move forward. Warning, the videos and photos distributed on social media, some of which are shared below, are violent and graphic in nature and be disturbing. So we're not going to see any of them because I'm not going to watch them. Social media has been inundated with videos of and photos from the stadium of motionless bodies on the ground being mercilessly kicked, others stripped of their clothes, and an already bloodied fan taking a beating. The images and video are hard to watch. Well, then we're not going to watch them. We'll take your word for it. But their existence will also likely push officials to take extreme measures to ensure Liga MX does not see another incident of this nature again. Just checking to see if I have anybody in the chat. I do not. The following two videos showed potential security breaches that Liga MX President Ariola indicated gave rise to the violence. I don't want to see that. Some of the images showed fans running across the field seeking safety. One man was shown protecting another Atlas fan. There were suggestions on social media that may have been a father protecting his son. Mexican publication Esto had reporters on site at the stadium, and they took photos and video of the events. It's in Spanish, so it doesn't do me any good. Radio Formula and Milenio reporter Joaquin Lopez Doriga documented much of the day's violence on his Twitter page. And then there's also stories of fans helping others. That's nice. And although one point was pointing the finger at Querétaro coach Herman Cristante for apparently suggesting that fans take the violence outside of the stadium to avoid a suspension. He was also hailed for allowing fans to seek shelter in the club's locker room. So he's saying, like, hey, you don't need to fight here. Go away if you want to fight. That's what he's saying. It says Mexican international Edson Alvarez, who plays for Ajax in the Netherlands, wore a short for the team's weekend match that read "No more violence." Well, that's good. I don't know. This was terrible. I don't mean terrible in the sense like, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? This isn't going to stop in Mexico. Like, this type of behavior is going to be anywhere you have inflamed passions about sporting events. It's not good. Not good at all. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it to you. Let's look at homes. Luxury homes in Buffalo, New York. Kind of a weird transition, I know. Let's look at this house, $1.8 million. Now, it says Williamsville and Buffalo. I don't know if they're close. Let's just take a look at this. $1.8 million. It's a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 5,000 square feet, built in 1997 on a 1.23 acre lot. 5-car garage. I love that. Let's look at the details. No, not interested. Property history listed 8 of 2021. Nice pool. 48 pictures. There's your outdoor space. I'd like to see a little more outdoor space like this. I like the covered area. Got a fireplace on the second floor. That's pretty cool. Now, Buffalo, New York, I mean, when I used to watch football, it used to be pretty cold there. So this is probably only like for 3 seasons. Here's a nice little entranceway. Carpet, not really a big fan. Nice. I like how they have like spaces like this where the ceiling isn't just flat and boring. Wallpaper. Beautiful kitchen. I like, I mean, there's things about the house I like. I don't like the carpet. Interesting wallpaper in the bathroom. Nice laundry room. I mean, this is the laundry room. Look at that. It's beautiful. Nice tray ceiling. Tell these people are into hockey. I'm not getting a good sense of like the flow. I'm just kind of getting like, here's a room. Here's a room. That's nice there. I mean, it's a nice house, right? $1.8 million. Get you a nice house in Buffalo. Let's look at the next house. That's new construction. This was interesting because I thought it was maybe a contemporary home, and it is definitely in Buffalo because it says Buffalo. The other thing is 2-car garage built in 1956, 56 days on the market. 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath for 2,000 square feet. So the location is clearly the most important part. But it's been listed since 2021. 9 of 2021. 48 pictures. Let's look. It's a contemporary home, and there's the museum. Like, what does this have to offer us? It's a nice home. I mean, we've seen the same picture like 3 times, so I don't know. There's the kitchen. Very nice. Very nice. Very, very pretty. We don't have a lot of contemporary homes, at least that I get to see in St. Louis. I'm okay with that. I'm not real I'm not real well versed in it. But I mean, it's only 2,000 square feet and it's a 2-bedroom house. So, I don't know. It seems like a lot of money. So anyway, that's that one. I will do one more. We'll do one more and then we're gonna quit. I gotta do some stuff. Now this is just $500,000 house. I mean, I was looking at houses that were $500,000 this weekend. It wasn't that interesting. Oh, I screwed that up. I don't know what I was thinking there. Maybe this. Maybe this. Maybe if I'll just trying to get to the listing. 16 pictures. I mean, no pop-up, please. 1-car garage, 39 days on the market, built in 1939. Property history, been listed since 2022 of January. Look at this for the description. 3rd floor description is for a in-law suite adjacent to the garage, remodeled in 2020. Includes living room, spelled wrong, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and 1 full bath. I mean, it's dated. Look at how foggy the pictures are. I mean, what are we doing here? So that's that. I think that's where I'm going to stay today. I'm not. I don't know. I was looking at something. I'm not into the Buffalo scene right now. That didn't do me any good. Me personally. I'm trying to get to the right button. I'm sorry. All right. Well, I didn't think that the Mexican football story was going to go so long. I thought it was important to talk about, though. I say football. Half the world, or 3/4 of the world, calls football soccer, or soccer football. I don't know. I'm a little frazzled by which, but anyway, it was interesting. I'm just taking you through my thought process. I don't know if you think the same way or not. It's Monday. Get out there and get after it. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll be back tomorrow at 9.